Welcome to the Marc Podcast. But yeah, I have to say, actually, I was very glad that you did not show up wearing any Bengals attire, because remember how I told you that I was going to buy a Rams shirt, right? Yeah. So I'm a diehard Lions fan. I've been ride or die Detroit sports, born and raised in Michigan. And so, but I won't buy Detroit sports. Well, I won't buy Lions gear because they don't deserve it yet. Like, the Fords are like the worst owners in all of sports. And so I'm like, until they put out a good product, I'm not buying Lions gear. That's something I've said for a long time now. But the Rams, I'm like, you know what? I could rock a Stafford jersey because, Matt Stafford played for the Lions for so long. Stafford's a great guy. I could go and buy one. So last night, I go to a sporting goods store. I walk in there, and they've got nothing. They don't have I literally look around. I don't see a single Rams item. So I was like, ma'am, is there like a Rams section? She's like, by the front. There's one rack. I look up there. It's like conference champions. And I was like,
I'll tell you why. It's because Rams fans became Rams fans last week, and they went and bought out all the stuff, and the stores weren't prepared for it.
But she made it sound like it's not even that it was sold out. Yeah. They just didn't have it.
Yeah, that's sad. That's really sad, especially in LA. But
yeah, I mean, I went to Target too, and I was like, okay, next up, let's go to Target. Bigger place. They had like 4 items, and one of them was like not terrible. Yeah. And so I was going to buy it, and then I was like, you know what? I'm just not gonna. It's just not worth it. But yeah, we can start actually there with the Rams. I feel like they get dogged on all the time because they don't have diehard fans. But it's like, at the end of the day, the Rams just got back here in 2015 after being gone since 1994.
I'm very honest. Like, I'm not gonna hate on them, but I will say it's an easy thing to pick on.
Yeah.
And the Rams are a team with like a lot of star power. A lot of celebrities are fans of them. They have big players like Odell, Von Miller. Like, they have Aaron Donald. Like, they have all these players that are like really big, millions of followers. And so I think that when other teams are looking for something to have against them, it's easy to be like, well, you don't have a fan base.
Yeah.
So that's like, it's just easy to pick on them. The same way it's easy to pick on the Bengals and be like, you've never won a playoff game in 31 years, because we always just need something to pick apart,
Yep. Oh yeah.
But I don't hate the Rams. I think that they do struggle in the fan base section, but I think that if they stay in LA and they continue to win, then they can build that. But yeah, right now I don't think they have very many diehards.
Well, and I've told people, I'm like, you have to earn that. Like, the Detroit Lions, like, I grew up watching them, so it's one thing. But if you're, anywhere around the age of 30, you don't remember when the Rams were in LA.
Yeah.
And so you grew up with them being a St. Louis team. I was actually, my first jersey ever in life was a Rams jersey, but St. Louis Kurt Warner jersey.
Yeah.
Loved Kurt Warner. My favorite number's 13, so that was Kurt. But yeah, I mean, it's like, if the Rams win the Super Bowl on Sunday, and we'll get into our predictions in a bit, but if the Rams win, I think it goes a long way to earning diehard fans, because all the kids that are watching right now are going to grow up, remembering the Rams as winners, right? Yes. And so that's going to be, I think, a good thing for the city. But this is a city of champions. You got to earn, earn the love and respect. The Dodgers, the Lakers, they got diehard fans. The Rams will get it too, but you got to win first.
Yeah, exactly. You have to win, and they also have it going against them that there's another team that came here at the same time,
right?
With the Chargers. I mean, I feel like the Chargers and the Rams both, especially playing in the same stadium and stuff, like, I don't know. I feel like it's tough, because if I wasn't a diehard Bengals fan and I've lived in LA for so long, I don't know who I would pick.
Yeah.
I'm like, I like them both, but
yeah, that's not easy. So, all right, I have a few more questions on that, but we're not going to dive into that yet, because I haven't even introduced you yet.
Okay,
so
let's do that.
So, Commissioner Yaz, welcome to the podcast. Can you tell everyone a little bit about yourself? Who are you?
That is a loaded question. Okay, hello. Thank you for having me. Okay, so my name's Yasmin. I am from Northern California originally, born and raised up there, and then I came to LA in 2013. Yeah, for college, Cal State Northridge. Loved it there. Actually, a funny story behind that is that the first time I ever saw the campus was on orientation day. Like, I had never been there, didn't know where it was. Like, I just wanted to move down here, and it worked out, and I ended up loving it. Best college experience, so it's okay. But back when I was like 13, 14 years old, I became a Bengals fan, because of Chad Ochocinco. I was a huge fan of him, his touchdown celebrations, his like little inside jokes, stuff like that. So I'd watch the Bengals to watch him specifically. And growing up, I had to own it because everybody made fun of me. They're like, you have no connection to Cincinnati. It makes zero sense. And, you know, like sometimes when you make crazy decisions, you just have to really double down on them. So I did. And they were bad. We did have some years where they were better and it was fun. Like we had that one season we started 8-0, 9-0. It was fun. But it's also been hard being a Bengals fan. So back in 2020, I started a Twitter that was Commissioner Yaz because I finally got to be the commissioner of my fantasy football league.
There we go.
That I'm in. And it's all like my brother, my brother-in-law, uncles, cousins, all guys except me. And now we have added a few more girls. But back then it was just me and they wouldn't ever let me be the commissioner. And I finally became the commissioner. And so I tweeted out one day, like, I'm now the commissioner, call me Commissioner Yaz. And it stuck and everybody was down with it. So I was like, this could be my little personality. And over time, I was just posting a lot of Bengals content, NFL, NBA, but somehow like the Bengals fan base and Bengals Twitter really started to like form this circle around me. I decided to run with it. And a thing that was like really special is that I felt like I had a community that I didn't have before because I was always the solo Bengals fan in California that everybody made fun of. But then on Twitter, I had this circle, like I had all these friends and stuff. So it took off and it's grown like a pretty good amount. I would say 95% of my followers are Cincinnati based. And as time has gone on, I've just really built on it, creating different Bengals content. I've gotten to work with the Bengals. They like invited me to their new jersey reveal. I got to see the new jerseys before like some of the team even got to see them, which is really cool. And I had a series called Pep Talks with Yaz, which was when the team was really bad. I would post every week giving a pep talk. And it started off as pep talks to the team as a joke, but it turned into pep talks to the fan base. So I'm known kind of as like the positive Bengals fan. And right now I'm thriving.
There we go. There we go.
That was a very long intro, but I feel like I just needed
That was a damn good intro.
I have to tell you all about me.
Yeah. No, that's a great intro. And I got to say, too, I actually have an Ochocinco story, too.
Oh, let's hear it.
When I was probably around the same age, because you said you were like 13 or 14 when you met him at an event, right?
Yes.
So when I was probably 13 or 14, my buddies and I were playing NFL Madden online, and we somehow get in a match with a guy who claims to be Ochocinco, right?
Oh, that's awesome.
And his gamer tag was like Ochocinco 86 or whatever, right? And he's like, and he sounds just like Chad, and he's talking to us, and he's like, and he's playing as the Bengals, and he's like, yeah, I'm legitimately Chad Johnson. And we were like, no, you're not. No, you're not.
Yeah.
So one of us is Googling on the computer there, because this is pre-iPhone, right?
Yeah.
So one of us is on the computer Googling random stuff about Ochocinco. We're asking him questions. He's nailing all of them, right?
Cool.
So then he says to us, no bullshit, he goes, tomorrow's game, because it was a Saturday, he goes, tomorrow's game, we're starting off our first drive with these 4 plays, right? Because that's all scripted, right? Yeah. And all of them were exactly. So
that is awesome.
That was our claim to fame, that we played Chad Ochocinco in NFL Madden, and he kicked our ass too. He was good. He was real good. So
on the field and on the game. That's great.
Yeah. So that was, but we were diehard Lions fans, and we were not converting over. But that was a cool moment. Anytime you're young and you get to meet somebody like that or talk to them or whatever, assuming it was him for us, it's a cool moment. It's a cool experience that keeps you giving a shit.
I completely agree. And I feel like now, because I had that, I guess we can get into this eventually, but I had that like yearning for always wanting to like be connected to the Bengals, that now that I see younger fans like wanting to go to games or wanting to meet players or wanting to do anything like that, that's kind of like where I'm trying to take my brand right now, is like I want to be the person that can help them attain that, because it is such a cool feeling when you're like I remember the first time I went to Paul Brown Stadium. It was actually in 2018. Like I waited a very long time. I had been to like 10 to 15 Bengals games, but never in Cincinnati. My first Bengals game in Cincinnati was just like the best experience ever. And I'm like, I want to be able to do that for other people. I think that's just like a really special part about sports, that it's like the connection between the fan base and the actual team. And I want to be like that middle person that brings them together, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, those moments are awesome. And I did have my moment with Chad, which I'll just say on here, but basically I got to meet him, and then I wrote a rap. I don't know. Maybe I don't want to talk about this.
What if we had you perform it right now? Put you on the spot. Yeah, you were like 13.
Right, but he loved it, and so I gave it to him, wrote my Twitter on the bottom. This was back in 2009, and he tweeted me the next day and said, "Cool rap, it's still in my pocket." And it was like the coolest moment ever. Like, oh my gosh, Chad Ochocinco took the time to tweet me, whatever. Anyway, yeah, good times.
I think that's cool when athletes connect with fans, especially the young fans and things like that. And there's so many athletes now with social media that will do that, but that was a long time ago, and there were not nearly as many that were comfortable with doing that and stuff like that. So that just shows Chad Johnson's character. Yeah. I'm sure you saw his tweet last week when he was trying to meet up with guys for to get some breakfast before the Pro Bowl, and no one joined him. I was like, oh man, I would have joined Chad in 2 seconds.
Right, I would have been at like every IHOP in Vegas, just like waiting to see.
Yeah, to eat those plastic pancakes.
Right, exactly. Yum.
So when you were in college, what were you studying at the time?
So I went to school for broadcast journalism and criminology, which is two very different things. But I was always interested in like sports media and then also in like criminal justice. And so I went that way. And throughout college, I went back and forth, which one I liked better. Should I switch them? And then I think I always wanted to do some form of journalism, and everybody would always tell me, like, you have the personality to be on camera, but then, or not only on camera, but to like be like doing news or something like that. But then once I was sitting in those classes and everything was so scripted and like, this is a little bit controversial, but I felt like anybody could do this. Yeah. Like everything is like scripted. You're reading off the teleprompter. You're like kind of a little robot, and people do it really well, and it's a good career, but it's just not me. Like, I don't fit into that. I can't do the scripted stuff. I'm more of like the way I want to be as authentic as possible. And so towards the end of college, I was kind of like, I don't even know if this is what I want to do, but it worked out that like right as I was graduating college was when like the Barstools of the world were like popping up and a new form of content came about. And that's kind of like how I got to where I am today. Is I was like, maybe traditional sports media isn't for me, but I can still work in sports in just a different avenue. Yeah. And that's kind of what I'm figuring out right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the cool part about podcasts and just like Twitter and things like that is you can sling it, right? So you can say whatever. That's the part, like I watch Part of My Take all the time, and and those guys, they sling it and they make dick jokes and they say this and they say that you can't say on ESPN, right? Right. And so there is a way of doing it when you're a like legitimate sports, TV host, and you can't you kind of take a little bit of the fun out of it because you have to give the actual news. Yeah. You're not really there to give your opinion a lot of times unless you're like Stephen A. Smith and stuff like that. Right. But you're mostly there just to sling it or just to read the teleprompter, right? Yeah. I would love if, let's say someday Stephen A. Smith leaves ESPN, he starts a podcast and he slings it. Yeah. Because, I mean, the tough part is like you can't cuss. We all cuss. Yeah, we all do. And so when you're like, I would love to see Stephen A. Smith just be like, what the fuck are you doing?
Well, that's the other thing too is like, I think there's a happy balance between having something be produced and having something be scripted. Yeah. And I just think that like, I couldn't do it. It couldn't be me, but I have a lot of friends that do, and they're incredible at it. And obviously like that is a very important part of sports media, but it's just me recognizing like what my strengths and what my flaws are, and being able to do something like that isn't one of my strengths, and that's okay. But I think that that's something that I've tried really hard with my Twitter, because I would say like Twitter is mostly where I run all my content, is just to keep it as authentic as possible. Like I don't want to do what everybody else is doing, and I think that it also creates a really healthy avenue for me because I never feel like I'm in competition with anybody else because I'm not doing what they're doing, and so I'm not like threatened by anybody. I want to support, like I want to give other people praise, and I know that I get really great support from my community as well. And I think it's because I have this like healthy avenue, and we've created these like really good relationships where people know that like my content is just different, and I love it, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, the TV host world, there's only so many jobs, right?
Yeah.
And so a lot of times, like I have a lot of friends who work for various companies and things like that. And, you know, there's only so many great jobs, right?
Yeah.
And so sometimes somebody starts off in the middle of nowhere, like Oklahoma, right?
Yeah.
And then next thing you know, they get a little bigger opportunity. Maybe it's like Atlanta. And then they move up and they keep moving up. But there's only so many jobs, right?
Exactly.
And I think that is one of the cool aspects of this sort of stuff is that if you can talk and you can sling it and you know your shit, people will listen. And we've seen that with you because there are a lot of podcasts where sometimes I listen, I'm like, these dudes don't know shit. Like, and you know your stuff. And that's what makes it interesting for people to want to listen because it's not like you know the Bengals of now. I was watching some podcasts last night. You know the Bengals of old. Like, you know all of it. And it's not one of those like bandwagon fans, like not even in the slightest. And I think when you know your shit, it's more likely to go viral and things like that because people are like, I want to tune in to listen to Yaz talk about this, this, and this because she knows her stuff. Is she could go on a podcast and not even talk about the Bengals and she still knows her stuff.
Yeah. I think that also a thing that I realized really early on was when I was building my community and my brand and all that, I was really looking at it from a point of view of I want these people to be on my side and not against me. And on Twitter, there's like all the Twitter trolls and people hiding behind like profile pictures and stuff. And at first, a lot of my content was me like talking kind of about like the X's and O's and like breaking down like the more like analytical game stuff. And it wasn't getting a great response because it was like, you're a girl. How'd you figure this out? Where'd you find that? Blah, blah, blah. And I know that a lot of people would fight back on that. But I was like, I know what I know. I'm confident in that. And if people don't want to hear me specifically talk about it, then what do they want to hear me talk about? And that's how I think that Commissioner Yaz was able to blow up because I was like, this isn't working clearly. Let me take a different angle to it. And that's when I came around with Pep Talks with Yaz. I was like, well, the fan base is like super depleted and like sad and upset right now with everything going on. So why don't I like bring this angle to it? And that just like completely blew up. And it's like, for lack of a better term, it's like I decided to like get into a different lane and stay in it because there are so many podcasts breaking down the game, or there's so many like other content personalities. Joe Goodberry is somebody that does it incredible for the Bengals. He breaks everything down, and I just knew like I'm not going to be a Joe Goodberry. People don't want to hear me talk about that. And if the opportunity comes up, I can do it, but let me take my talents and like rework them. And yeah, I've liked that process, and I do like that people know, like Yaz does understand the game. She's just choosing to like do other things. But that's kind of the fun thing about like the social media world is like I'm my own boss. Like I can kind of decide what I want to say and when I want to say it and how I want to say it.
Yeah, and with that said, because you're your own boss, I'm actually honored that you made time to do this because, I mean, just texting with you, I was like, she's busy as shit. Like, she's got so much going on, doing podcasts left and right, meeting with this person, doing this, doing that. You got a lot, and you're handling all of it yourself. Applause to you, and thank you for making time for this.
No, of course, and thank you for having me. Yeah, I mean, it's my first time in LA. I lived here all through college and then for like 4 years after. But, oh my God, did I graduate college 4 years ago?
Dude, I graduated so many years ago.
I can't
like
do
7
math,
now.
but like, let me just do the calculator really quick.
What year did you graduate?
Stop. I'm not even going to tell you. Okay. I actually can do math, and it was 4 years ago.
There we go.
Okay,
there we go.
So anyway, I have lived in LA this whole time, and then back in October, November, I moved away. I have a company called the Game Day NFL that I work with. I have a show with them, and I was traveling so much for work. I was going to a lot of Bengals games, and so I wasn't ever here. I was like going through some big life changes and stuff, so I just left. And this is my first time back in LA since. So I'm trying to, I mentioned this to you earlier, but I'm trying to find that balance between like my whole like Cincinnati family is in town and like wanting to find time with them and like show them around and be part of all these Bengals events, but also be around my friends here that I haven't seen in months. And also like I have a full-time job. I want to like see my bosses. Like there's just like so many things, but I'm glad that I'm here because this is a fun conversation.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's, I mean, that is the cool part about, you know, being your own boss is kind of like you get to choose what you do, when you do it. I mean, that's the one, it's the good and the bad, right? Because at the end of the day, like you always have shit that you need to get done. And if you don't feel like you got enough done, then you're like, holy shit, I need to go do this. I need to go do that. And so it is kind of that, you know, the constant busy. But that's also, you hold the success in your pocket of like what happens with Commissioner Yaz is all up to you, you know? So I would say, taking that into consideration, where do you see this going in a perfect world? Let's say 5 years from now, because I know you're happy doing what you're doing right now, but 5 years from now, perfect world, what are you doing?
Oh, Lord.
I know that's a loaded question.
I said the question earlier was loaded and I was lying. This one is loaded. Okay, let me think about that. I haven't actually been asked this. I think that I would love to continue creating content. I hope that I can find a company that I can land with that has like all the production, cameras, all like the logistics of it, but where I have the freedom to create what I want to create. Yeah. I do, like I said, love being my own boss. I love being like a creator on my own, but I would also love to have the backing of a company. The other thing is I know that like me creating content isn't going to last forever because it is really tiring. Like the days that I'm filming my Ride with Yaz, which is a show that I have with the game day, those days, like when it ends, I'm so tired. Like this is just a side story, but I think it was after we played the wild card game and won. I tweeted out like, let's fucking rage to Cincinnati. Like I was like, let's fucking rage. And everybody's replying. They're like, where are we going? Blah, blah, blah. And I was laying in bed in my hotel room. I was like, I put on my like private Snapchat story. I'm like, I'm such a fraud. Like I wanted to party, but I was like creating content all day that I didn't even have it in me to celebrate it. And so anyway, like I'm saying, creating content does get really like tiring sometimes. And I know maybe 5 years from now, I won't still like be fully creating content, but I do think that I would love to like maybe I need my own company. I would love to take what I did for myself, how I created Commissioner Yaz, and make a bunch of other people. Like I'd love to do branding for other young females that want to also create their own brands. Like I'd love to have somebody that I can take and be like, this is the right avenue. Like I feel like I'm really good at looking at somebody and being like, these are your strengths. This is how you should market yourself. Like I feel like I could do a really good job at helping other young girls come into the sports media world this way. Yeah. I would love to be able to do that. And then like my ultimate dream is I would love to have a series where I'm giving back to people, especially sports fans. Like I don't know if it comes through like sponsorships. I don't know if it comes through like me and my own money. I don't know if it's like me working with teams. Like, but I just would love to take the fans that can't afford to get to a game or live too far from a game and just like have the ultimate game day experience with them. Like when it's all said and done, I need to do that for others because I understand what that's like. Like growing up, my family was like good on money, but I didn't have the extra $1,000, $2,000 to like go fly to Cincinnati and get a hotel and get game tickets and all that stuff. But that I wanted that so badly. And I think like I would love to be able to do that for others. Yeah. So it's like in 5 years, I hope that I have made a lot of people happy connecting them with their team.
Yeah, I love that because I feel like, you know, in order to get to that position where you have that, you know, money and I guess like power to do that, right? Almost like a Pat McAfee. Yeah. Like I look at you as I think you're going to be the female version of Pat McAfee. I could definitely see that. Like it's all about, can you talk on camera and like, do people want to like, do they gravitate towards your energy and do people just enjoy being around your company and things like that? Like Pat McAfee could talk about controversial shit with Aaron Rodgers and people still love him. And I don't even think Pat agrees with him on like 95% of it, but like he's good at his job. He's good with what he does. And I could see you doing the same thing. And I think that as you kind of get to that position, you can't get to that position without the support of people hitting the subscribe button on YouTube and hitting the like button, hitting the retweet on this and hitting the favorite on that and replying to this and all that. So then when you get to that position of power, having that money, when FanDuel gives you $120 million down the road, like I'll be real jealous, but when that happens, because we're going to speak that shit into existence, actually, you got to get a little bit more. So we'll say 140. When you get 140 million down the road, like that's the point where you're in that position to give back to all these people, to make that happen for people. So I love that that's one of your goals, because I feel like a lot of people, maybe they're like, down the road, someone's like, hey, you should do this. And they're like, oh, sure. But you actually have the idea of like, I actually want to do this.
I so badly want to do it. And I hope that it happens before 5 years, to be honest. Like, I hope that it happens in the next 6 months where, like, I have the ability to start doing that, just because I do think it's, like, really special, and I feel like fans deserve it. And, I mean, I'm sure everybody has seen the Super Bowl ticket prices. Like, it's just, like, it sucks all the fun out of it, and it, like, makes me sad that there's, like, diehard fans that really, like, put their time and energy into supporting teams, and then they don't even have the chance to like go see them in person, because everything is like run by money now. So whatever I can do, I mean, right now I'm starting small, but like I run a lot of giveaways on my Twitter, and I don't like ask to get paid for those. Like I just like really will connect with companies and be like, are you down to do a giveaway? Like, let's just like give my followers free stuff. And I have a company where I'm from who I work with like super closely, and they have been so generous. Like we've given out multiple gift cards, like of hundreds of dollars, bundles, just so many things. And I really love that companies are willing to
give them a shout out. That's a great company.
Where I'm from, I love you. And you know that.
There we go. There we go.
But yeah.
Yeah, I actually saw you post that the other day, and I actually sent that to my business partner, because I love when companies give back and give to people. And so I'll say this, and not to put you on the spot, but we have a coffee company, and if you would ever like to do that with giving away coffee to people, we'd be more than happy to give away whatever. That's actually our coffee company right there. Yeah, Roast Umber. So we're based in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and we import our coffee beans from Guatemala and Honduras and a few other places. And so we roast in Grand Rapids, Michigan, ship out nationwide and everything like that. Anybody can always use the coupon code Marc30 and get 30% off, but we can always do some giveaways and things like that. And I'll say this, our Nitro Cold Brew, and I'm not just saying this, our roaster, Chad, is incredible. Like he puts in so much work to make sure that's the best tasting coffee that somebody can have. And I was texting, we'll try some right after this, but I texted him the other day and I was like, dude, the latest batch is by far the best Nitro Cold Brew I've ever had. So not just the best we've ever done, but the best I've ever had. And he did an incredible job with it. We do a lot to give back to the farmers in Guatemala that we work with and things like that. So happy to do any sort of giveaway. We can talk about that later. Not going to put you on the spot.
Let's do it. I love coffee, and actually something that like my closest friends would know is that I always say, if like I would love to own a coffee shop one day, like that is something. When I like have money and I'm slowing down in my career, like I just want to have a little coffee shop.
There we go.
And so I really care about coffee, and I can't wait to try this.
There we go. What if we try it right after this? You're like, this shit sucks.
I know. I'm like,
this is terrible. God, please delete this podcast, Marc. So, all right. So before we get into the Super Bowl, I want to just ask you in general questions about this past NFL season. Was there anything that you were surprised by outside of like the Bengals being as good as they are? Because nobody saw them being in the Super Bowl this year. Let's be real. But outside of the Bengals, was there anything?
Speak for yourself.
Was there anything you were super shocked by this year?
I mean, no. I know people are going to be like, bullshit, but no. like I said, my brand has always been being the positive fan, being the fan that like looks to the good. Actually, you know what? Maybe I've been the most surprised by the Bengals defense. And I've been giving them a lot of praise the past few days. Everybody that I've talked to, the Bengals defense and the adjustments that they're able to make during the game. Like they're just good at adjusting their game plan and getting out there and getting the job done. I would say I've been surprised by the Bengals defense. Maybe something that I would say is we brought a lot of new people to the team this season, and how well they all gelled and meshed together. I was really excited, for example, when they brought Mike Hilton from the Steelers. I had tweeted out, like, I'm really happy to have him on the team, because even though he comes from the Steelers, which we don't like, they have a winning mentality in Pittsburgh. Mike Tomlin's great. Honestly, I hate to admit that, but like they have a winning mentality. They're used to winning. I'm sure that the way that like their locker room is run is a little bit different than like a Bengals team that isn't winning. And so I was excited to have him come in and like be a leader. And then there was other players like Eli Apple got brought in, I've just been like really surprised by the way that he has played. He's had an incredible season, and he catches a lot of like wrath from other people, but he's great. And
that's because he was trash in the Giants. So I can say that because you're the nice person. I'll be the asshole. He was trash on the Giants, and that's what. But we love somebody turning around their career.
No, but he has absolutely turned it around, and he has done really great this season. And so I'm just like, I would say that I've been the most surprised by the way that the people that we brought in impacted this team so quickly. Like, I feel like they all just came together and like really they believe in themselves. And I love that because, you know, you're bringing in a bunch of people from different teams. They're coming to Cincinnati, which like they're just like hammered by their history constantly. And they all kind of like came together and were like, let's do this. And they got it done. So I would say like, bringing in those outside pieces and the way that they all just like, it didn't take time to build that chemistry. It just happened.
Yeah. I would say the only thing that bums me out about the Bengals season is that AJ Green's not on the team.
Oh my gosh. I don't even want to talk about it.
Like I feel so bad for AJ because AJ has got to be like, he thought when he left the Bengals, okay, I'm going to the Cardinals.
Right.
Let's be real. If you asked people, you gave everybody truth serum and said at the beginning of the season, which team's more likely to be in the Super Bowl, the Cardinals or the Bengals? Everyone's going with the Cardinals there.
Of course. They also started the season, like, weren't they the only undefeated
team? I was going to say, weren't they 8-0, I think?
Yeah.
And then they fell off a cliff because that's what happens with Kyler. For whatever reason.
That's what happens. I don't know. AJ Green, man, that breaks my heart. Not only AJ Green, but Gio Bernard. He was one of my favorite players. And he went to Tampa, which, I mean, happy for him. But I do, like, wish that those two were on our team to get to go through this. But with AJ Green still on the team, we probably don't have the season that we have. Although I love him so much. Him and Burrow didn't have the best chemistry. And the chemistry that Burrow, Jamar, T, Tyler have. Yeah. I wouldn't, there's no other receiver in the league that I would take Tyler, T, or Jamar away and put him in there. Not one. Not DeAndre Hopkins. Nobody. I'm not taking Cooper Kupp. I'm not taking anybody. I want Tyler, T, and Jamar, and I'm riding with them off into the sunset to get the Lombardi Trophy.
You are a loyal fan.
Yes. And I think, because I think a lot of it isn't only physical, it's also mental and how these people get along and the way that they believe in themselves. And that's something that I really love about the game too, is not just what happens on the field, but like how these people interact off the field and in the locker room and how they believe in themselves and how they hype each other up and all that stuff. I think that really does make a difference when it comes to playing the game.
Yeah. And I think, too, when you have a guy like Joe Burrow at quarterback, the thing about Joe is that Joe, in like the NFL is a melting pot. Like there's all different races, there's all different ethnicities, religions, everything like that. And when you always wonder kind of some teams, like if they have little cliques and stuff like that, right? Yeah. And let's be real, a team needs to be gelled in order to like really be, that great. And a guy like Joe Burrow, when you see the videos of him in the locker room after games and things like that, the dude gets along with everybody. And he's just a genuine dude, and he's got a little swagger to him. He kind of reminds me of Baker Mayfield with talent. And so, because when Baker came into the league, Baker came in like, I'm the shit kind of. And Joe had that same swagger of like, but he's proven it, right? And I think with Baker, I actually do think Baker's a good quarterback. He just seems to constantly be injured and always have these very unfortunate injuries, shoulder, forearm, whatever. He's always got random injuries. Yeah. And, but I think Joe has proven it over and over and over again. And when you saw that video of him after the national championship game and he's smoking that cigar and he's sitting back on the couch and he's just, it's the swaggiest video of all time. Yeah. And then you see him after I think it was after the latest game going to the Super Bowl, he's doing, what's the song called?
Get the Gat.
Get the Gat. Yeah. And I'm not going to do the dance because I can't do it, but he's doing the dance and he's just got so much swagger and he backs it up. And that's the thing about him that I think is so great is that if you're on the Bengals, you look at a guy like Joe Burrow and you're like, I want to play for that dude. And that's a rare trait to have.
So I was saying this to my friend George, but the thing about Joe Burrow is that he is confident in the best way. Yeah. He's not cocky. I wouldn't use the word cocky. I would say he's confident because he knows what he brings to the table. And there's like that quote out there that's like, when you know what you bring to the table, you don't have to beg people to sit with you or something like that. I feel like that's what it is about Joe Burrow. He's cool, calm, collected, knows what he brings to the table, knows what he has to do to get things done, and he goes out there and proves it week after week. And I love that about him. And I mean, especially after last season having a season-ending injury and then coming back this season and just being like one of the best players in the league. It's literally crazy. Like, he's in the MVP conversation because he deserves it already in his second year in the NFL. Like, it took him one season, basically. I mean, 1 season and a half to get the Bengals to the Super Bowl. And that, like, what he is doing for the city of Cincinnati, it goes beyond what's on the field. It's like this city has like longed and starved for something like this for so long, and he came in and did that for them, and it's incredible.
Yeah. No, my brother-in-law and sister live in Cincinnati, and my brother-in-law was raised in Cincinnati, so I know that deal. And Detroit Lions, it's the same thing as the Bengals, where kind of like always just shit. Though I will say the Bengals for a long time, I would say they were like the team that was always 8-8. They were just like when Marvin Lewis was the coach, like they were never like awful, but they were just never good either. It was just really Carson Palmer at quarterback. Like they just kind of were, they were just there, right?
We had some bad luck. Andy Dalton breaking his thumb. We had that Jeremy Hill fumble. We had just like, bad moments that were like history defining moments. But you know what? That's behind us. And I think a big theme of the Bengals this season has been just like rewriting their history and like rewriting who they are. And they've done a great job with that, with like just all the players, the way they're playing this season, breaking records, just really showing who they are, getting new jerseys, just like Bengals social media team has been incredible. Actually, for anybody that wants to see a video on Joe Burrow, the Bengals social media team released it today, and it's like an 8-minute video, but I promise you, will bring you chills, tears. Like, it's amazing. It's just like about his journey since he was injured and to where we are today. And like 10 out of 10 recommend watching.
All right, I'll watch that right after we're done with this.
Do that.
So, okay, now before we get into the Super Bowl, one last question for you. So was there anything outside of the Bengals? Was there anything outside of the Bengals that you were surprised by this NFL season? Teams that you thought would be better? Anything like that?
You know, I'm not even going to lie. I feel like I was so hyper focused on the Bengals this season that I didn't care about anybody else. Like,
That's fair.
Usually am like watching in past seasons. I would watch like all the games. I was super into my fantasy team. Like, I wanted to win this season. Like, I knew what was brewing, and I was just trying to like really take care of it. I'm like, let's do this. We're getting there. We're pushing. Am I surprised by anything? No, I am surprised that the Cardinals, after starting their season so strongly, didn't make it far. I mean, I am surprised about that. I'm surprised about...
Are you surprised that Tom... I was going to say that. Are you surprised Tom Brady retired?
I'm not surprised that he retired. It was time. I much respect to Tom Brady, but I'm not like a Tom Brady like fangirl lover. I feel like he came, he conquered, go.
Wow.
There's a new guy in town and his name is Joe Burrow. I had a feeling that they weren't going to make it to the Super Bowl.
It did seem like at the end of the year they just kept getting gut punches, and you can only take so many of those. They had so many guys getting hurt, and AB goes a little wild.
I loved that. I loved every second of it.
That was. I need a Netflix show on AB in general. I need an 8-part documentary on AB because that is going to be wild. 10 years down the road, I can't wait for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say same thing. Cardinals surprised me that they fell off, but at the same time, if you look back the last few years, and I can guarantee, here's my prediction for next year: Cardinals are going to start off great. Kyler's going to be talked about being an MVP, and then they fall off a cliff every time. I do wonder, and we don't have to go down a rabbit hole of it, but I do wonder if his height ever holds him back, because he is short. And like, I do think at some point NFL teams adjust to him, and it seems like each year they tend to adjust to him, and then he's got these really bad interceptions, and sometimes I'm just like, dude, it's because you're like damn near my height, and like I can't see over a lineman, so if I can't, like, it can't be much easier for you. And like I get it that obviously we're not talking about athletic ability. Obviously he's got way more of that than I do, but like height is something that just, it's tough. Like, you don't see many quarterbacks in the NFL that are probably realistically like 5'8", because I think he's listed at like 5'10" or some shit. And you're like, we all know his agent upped that a little bit so he can get some more money when his next deal is. But
I would say another thing that did surprise me is the 49ers.
Yeah.
The 49ers, that was a team that I did watch. I love watching Debo. I mean, poor Jimmy G. He's just poor Jimmy G. It's fine. We're not going to get into that. But I did like watching the 49ers, and I actually wanted to play them so bad in the Super Bowl. We played them a few weeks ago, and we lost in overtime, I believe it was, or by a field goal. I don't really remember. I was sad that day. But Yeah, I really wanted them in the Super Bowl, and they were a team that I enjoy watching them play, honestly. So that was a team that did surprise me. But the Dolphins were fun. How they like started out terrible, and then as the season went on, they won like 5 or 6 in a row. That's cool. I love stories like that. I wish that they would have like made it to the wild card, but it's okay. Maybe next year.
It'll be interesting to see how the Dolphins play next year. I don't know if you've seen the new videos of the new head coach for the Dolphins, but my man just seems perma high. Yeah. Like he just seems like he just takes a fat dab every time he goes to speak.
He's like, here we go.
There was the video of him talking to Tua, and he's like, "We're gonna win, brother," and I'm looking forward. And it was so slow, but like everything he was saying, I was like, if you write it up, he's saying great things. But I was like, my man just seems like the he's so high.
Is not there.
Yeah. So if he doesn't smoke weed, I'm genuinely very shocked. But either way, dude was offensive coordinator, I believe, for the 49ers. And so I think he'll be good. It'll be interesting to see how they do next year. Yeah. But I'll say this. Okay, so one last prediction. I will say for next year, where do you think Jimmy G will be? Because I don't think he's going to be on the 49ers.
Oh, yeah, definitely not going to be on the 49ers. I don't know. I don't really know where he fits. I did see, where was it? I saw an article yesterday that said maybe Tom Brady doesn't retire. He plays one more year and he goes to San Francisco. And then maybe Jimmy G goes to Tampa. That would never happen.
Nope.
But that would be really funny to watch.
That would be very funny to watch.
That would be very funny. I was telling my friend that is a 49ers fan. I was like, you don't want Tom Brady. He's old. And he got so mad.
Oh, if you can get Tom Brady, you take Tom Brady.
Yeah, no, I mean, of course. Did you see Rob Gronk said that if he had to pick a quarterback right now, it would be Joe Burrow? I'm like, I'm sure we could find space for you.
Well, CJ was almost probably watching that like, nah, bro, we're good. We're good at tight end, K. Yeah, he's like, my leg's fine, K.
Yeah, no, there was a Bengals Pep Rally the other day. 30,000 fans attended. It was awesome. And when CJ went up onto the stage, he had the knee brace on and he ripped it off and threw it behind him.
Oh, damn, I didn't see that.
Yeah, you have to find the video. It's awesome.
Wow, I need him to play.
He's playing for sure.
Okay, well, I need him to be healthy because I always love betting on CJ. So, all right, so let's get into our Super Bowl prediction here. Okay. So I want you to give me your actual reality of what you think is going to happen. Okay. So even if you think there's a chance that the Rams win, you got to be honest, and then also give me your dream situation.
Okay. So I am confident that we are going to win. I'm very confident. I will say
scale 1 to 10.
10.
Oh,
11.
Wow.
11.
Damn. Okay.
Here's the thing. When we went into Tennessee, I knew we were going to win. I was calm about it. I knew we were going to win. As the game was happening, Joe Burrow had 9 sacks. I was angry, but in the back of my head, I always knew like this is going to come together. We're going to figure this out. Okay. Then we went to Kansas City. I was calm that whole day. I'm like, we got this. We got there. I'm surrounded by all these Kansas City fans and I got a little bit nervous, but we're down 18 points and somewhere like I wasn't angry. I was just like, we're going to figure this out. We're going to like, something's going to happen. My belief in this team is so strong. And I really think that people say we're maybe like inexperienced. We haven't been here before. This is a really big stage. The team is young, blah, blah, blah. But I actually think that that's going to work in our favor. And also I do think there's a lot of pressure on LA because we are in LA and whatever. No, I'm just not even going to go there. But I think that I'm confident in the Bengals. My dream scenario or what I think will happen is I think it's going to be a close game. My dream is for us not to fall behind. I would love to keep a lead or I would love to stay right there with them. Just because we have pulled off the come from behind wins, I don't want to do that during the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I want to continue to score. We have Evan McPherson, Money Mac. He is our kicker. We love him so much. I think that he's going to have a strong game because I don't care if I've said this before and I say it all the time. I don't care if I have to win on field goals. I will win on field goals. Just score. And I believe in Evan and I know that he can hit a 50-yarder. I know that like if we just get him close enough, he's going to do it. But yeah, my dream scenario is for us not to fall behind, but instead to just either keep a lead or stay really close.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you want me to give you my prediction?
Yes.
Because I don't think you're going to be a fan.
No, I believe.
Now I'm a gambler. So when I say that I believe this, it means because I'm going to put money on it, okay?
Okay.
So 2 things. I love Joe Burrow. I very much look forward to watching Joe Burrow do great things for the rest of his career. I think my man is going to win many, many Super Bowls, and I look forward to watching him. I will say this. It's hard to beat desperation, and what I mean by that is Joe has had nothing but success basically his entire life, and I think when you get to that point, you need to lose something in order to like really know what you're chasing after.
He did lose it when he ended his season last year.
Well, yeah, but that's an injury, and also like I mean that team was so deficient of talent in certain places, like it was tough.
Yeah.
They weren't going to win last year. But I look at Matt Stafford and I'm like, my man has been through hell and back. He wants this so bad, and this is most likely his only shot at the Super Bowl. So he knows you blow this, Matt. Like you're not making the Hall of Fame, okay? There's so many things that are going to happen. You're going to get destroyed by the fan base. So, right. Matt, you can't be throwing these dumb interceptions like he does at certain times. You need to, and if he learned anything from the Chiefs last week, you have to, or 2 weeks ago, you have to keep your foot on the pedal the entire game against the Bengals. So if they get up big, I think where Kansas City fucked up was Kansas City's got that swagger of we're supposed to just make the Super Bowl every year, right? And I think at the end of the first half, we saw it where the Kansas City screwed it up, should have got points, should have got a touchdown, should have got a field goal at minimum, and they end up with nothing, right? And I remember watching that and just being like, dude, what are we doing? What are you doing? Like, you can't walk away with that from nothing. The second half, they play so god-awful. Bengals come back, win the game, right? If the Rams obviously have talked about that.
But that was a defensive adjustment on our end.
A defensive adjustment, and also, like, the Kansas City shit in their pants. Like, how do you can't defensive adjust against Patrick Mahomes and not have Mahomes do...
Yeah, you can. We did it twice. We did it twice. We were down, I think, 3 touchdowns when we played them in the regular season, and we came back. No, we were down, twice. We were down that much, and we came back. I will say something. I saw a tweet the other day that was like, I'm going for the Rams because Matt Stafford deserves a Super Bowl.
Damn right.
Here's the thing. How long has he been in the league?
Like 15 years, 14, 15 years.
I think if you deserve a Super Bowl, you would have done it already.
With the Lions?
I don't care who it's with. You would have done it already. So, sorry, man.
Cursed.
There's a lot of people that deserve a Super Bowl. AJ Green deserves a Super Bowl. There's a lot of people that deserve a Super Bowl. I just don't think it's going to happen. And one of my bets, I'll tell you, is Matt Stafford absolutely throwing an interception.
Oh, well, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, of course. But you could also bet like Joe Burrow getting sacked like 7 times. Probably going to happen too. Aaron Donald's going to drive him into the ground.
Yeah, but I mean...
But Joe gets up.
Yeah,
Joe gets up. Yeah. Joe's got that swagger. He'll be good.
Yeah,
it'll be very interesting to see. I think it's going to be. My hope is it's just a great game. Like at the end,
Super Bowls are boring.
Yeah, the last few have been terrible.
Yeah, boring.
The last time the Rams were in it against the Patriots was the worst Super Bowl I think I've ever seen in my life. I think that game was 13-3. Awful.
Mm-hmm. I don't think I even finished watching it. I'm like,
awful.
All right, so where's the beer at?
Yeah. And then last year with with Kansas City's offensive line just getting annihilated.
That was sad.
We got to hope that's not the Bengals again. I mean, hey, if we know something about bad offensive lines in the Super Bowl, it doesn't look pretty.
Well, the good thing about Joe is that he's good at scrambling, getting out of the pocket.
He's going to need to. He's going to need to. But that's why we need CJ to be good, because he's going to need that safety blanket of just throwing it 10 yards down the field, right in the middle field to CJ. So need him to be healthy. But, okay, so give me your score prediction.
So I don't do score predictions. It's a superstitious thing.
Okay.
I don't do it. I haven't done it. I do have them in my head, but I don't like to speak them because I don't like to limit my team.
Can you give a margin victory? Can you say, like, Bengals are going to win by 2?
No.
I respect that. We all have our superstitions.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to come out and say, and I want this to be a highly, highly scoring game. So I'm going to say, it's a Super Bowl, so it's not going to go crazy. Like I was going to say like 34-30. That's not going to happen. I'm going to say 32-28.
32-28. Okay, I would love if the Bengals win on a walk-off field goal, because that has been like our reoccurring theme, and I just think it would be like, I love like stories. I love like special, cool moments.
Yeah.
yeah, I'm not giving a score prediction.
That's fine. Yeah. No, I just want a great game. And to be honest, I don't care if the Bengals win. Like, at the end of the day, I do want to see Stafford get a Super Bowl because I think he deserves it. I also want to see a championship parade in LA because the last two, the Lakers and the Dodgers, we haven't been able to celebrate because of COVID. This one, we're going to go fucking wild. I'm excited for that. My liver's not ready for that, but we're going to have a good old time. And but yeah, it'll be either way. Like, if Cincinnati wins, Cincinnati fans are going to go nuts. Who knows? I might have to fly to Cincinnati for that.
Right.
But like,
me too. Actually.
It's going to be a great time. No matter who wins, it's going to be. I just want to see a good game. That's really what I want to see. So to wrap this up, a few more things. Are you a gambler? Let's start with that.
Yes. Shout out Betfred Sports.
Yeah, I was going to say, you got to give the plug. So I'm going to give you some just random over-under examples, and you say whether you think it's going to be over or under.
Okay.
So points in the game, 48.5.
Over.
Okay. How confident?
Confident.
Okay.
I mean, like, when you look at both of these offenses, they're capable of scoring a lot.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'll say over. Confident.
Okay. Joe Mixon over 62.5 rushing yards.
Over.
Wow, that was real confident.
I feel like if anybody is hungry for the Super Bowl, it's him. Yeah. He's like such a good team leader, and like he has so much passion for like the city, the fan base, the game. He's one of my favorite players, absolutely.
Okay. Cooper Kupp over 8.5 catches. That's not saying that you think the Rams are going to win if you hit the over on that.
I'm just trying to think, like, who's going to be on him.
It doesn't matter who's on him. The man can't be stopped.
How many catches was it?
8.5.
Over the 4 quarters?
You're like, 4 quarters, this many minutes, this many plays. You round that up.
Yeah, okay. I'll take the over.
Yeah. Jamar Chase over 78.5 receiving yards.
The thing with Jamar is it's hard because teams really, double team him. They know he's good and he can get up there. The thing with Jamar is that he'll have 2 catches, but they'll be 2 35-yard catches.
Right.
So for somebody else, that many yards would be like maybe like 5, 6 catches, but for Jamar, it could be 2.
Right.
So it's like...
I feel like he either goes for 40 yards or 120.
Yeah, right. Like, there's no in between. It's either going to literally be 40 or like 200, and he's going to get MVP. Like, I don't know, something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, so we'll say, how about, since we're rooting for points in the game, we'll say over.
I've said too many overs. Wait, what was it, 78?
Yeah, but I got the next one. I'm priming you for an under.
Over. Okay, let's go.
Okay, next one, my favorite one.
Oh, God.
National Anthem over 1 minute and 35 seconds. But hey, I got some data for you. Okay, I crunched some data. Okay, so the singer of the national anthem is Mickey Guyton. I don't know who she is. Country singer. Okay. No clue who the fuck she is. Sounds great though. And so from the last basically 30 Super Bowls, the average length of the anthem was 1 minute and 56 seconds. Okay. So this year is 1 minute and 35, which sounds like you immediately hit the over, right? Yeah. The thing is, though, we have 2 examples of Mickey singing the national anthem, and the last one was clocked in at just 76 seconds. So she sings that shit quick. She's not hanging on these notes and things like that. Yeah. So she did another one lately that was 81 seconds, but like I said, we're set at 1 minute and 35, which is 95 seconds. Yeah. So where are we at with that?
I kind of want to take the over because you got the Super Bowl, right? So she's going to start slow, probably take in the crowd. I'm going to go over.
Okay. Last 2 things. The color of the Gatorade.
Orange.
Yep. Orange. Well, and that's assuming a few things.
That's assuming. That's telling you when the Bengals win. Yes, orange.
Or the Rams trolling.
I think if it's the Rams, it'll be... gray. What is it? The frost one?
Yeah. The
clear,
glacier freeze or whatever. That shit hits.
Yeah.
All right. And then last thing, I got a food for thought question. Okay. What's something most people don't know about you?
That's an interesting question. I'm Mexican.
I think they can tell that by your name.
Yasmin Quintana. I don't think so. People in Ohio are always so surprised.
Well, that's because Ohio's just white people, so they're very shocked.
Sense. Yeah. Okay, that was just the first thing that came to mind. This is good. I have a full-time job, which I mentioned earlier. People will always be like, "Do you have a job?" And I'm like, why are you asking me like that? Yes, I do have a job. I mean, besides being a content creator, I do have a job, everybody. Okay, that's something else that people don't know about me. I don't know.
And I'm going to say this, by the way, while you're thinking, to your employer, if they're listening to this, you're going to have to up the pay because she's about to get we just talked about it. She's about to get $140 million from FanDuel. So you guys got to up that. I mean, I'm talking, she needs to start getting paid $2,000 an hour. Like, and it's just, and we got to start the bar generous. There. You know, we can, like 6 months vacation time. Like we got to, you know, they got to step up to the plate.
Yeah, no, they've been great. They actually let me take the rest of this week off so that I could just really soak in my team being in the Super Bowl. What is something people don't know about me? I don't know. I think something people always say to me, like when they meet me in person, is like, you're so much nicer than I thought. And I'm like, what? Like, do I come off as not nice? I'm a very nice person, for anybody wondering.
I also think you're a nice person.
Thank you. I think you are a nice person as well.
Why, thank you.
But yeah, I don't know.
I think those were good.
I feel like I'm pretty much an open book.
Yeah.
No, that's a lie. I'm an open book, but I'm very specific with what people get to see.
Okay.
But the things that are hidden, I don't really know what they are. Interesting.
Have you like killed people in your past and you're like covering that up like a Dexter type of situation?
No. I'm like, my suitcase was so heavy the last place that I traveled that my Uber driver was like, is there a dead body in here? I was like,
I don't know. It's just like that. I'm an open book, but I'm not telling you that, buddy.
Okay. I was like, yeah.
What? That's Marc when he says the Rams are going to win. Okay.
Right.
All right. So to wrap this up, plug yourself. Where can people find you? Give your IG, give your YouTube, give your Twitter, all that shit. Where can people find you?
Thank you. So Ride with Yaz. I've mentioned it a couple of times, but it's my show with the Game Day NFL. Go watch it. You can just go on YouTube and type in the Game Day, or you can type in Ride with Yaz. It'll come up. My Twitter is at Commissioner Yaz, which is mostly where I do all the content stuff. And then my Instagram is at Yo Yasmin, which is a happy balance, which is what I like to call it, of my real life and then my Commissioner Yaz life. They're kind of meshed a little bit.
There we go. All right. So point at that camera, point at that camera, point at that camera. Bang, bang, bang. All right. Thank you for coming on. I appreciate you taking the time today. And I'm rooting for points in this game. And I'm looking forward to whatever conversation that we have on late Sunday night or early Monday morning. Because one of us is going to be shit talking a little bit.
It might be on Tuesday because if the Bengals win, when the Bengals win, I'm turning my phone off. And I'm going ham.
Getting lit.
But yeah, all right. Yeah, we'll see how this ends up. Go Bengals.
Go Points. Let's see. Thank you for coming on. See you guys.
Of course. Thank you.